Okay, back with let's see, I put out about 5 videos last week or a couple weeks ago, and had some decent ones in there. Hope you liked them. If you do like them, don't forget to like and subscribe. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. So click a like button, subscribe button. You'll get a little bing when I post new videos, like this one, for instance. So this one, when I started doing these, they were mainly for my students, and so that they could kind of recap things and things that we talked about in the lessons or ideas that they had. And then a friend of mine, Joe Soretti, who I did a video for last week, who passed away last year, he wanted me to do the John Bonham rock and roll ending video. So I said, okay. So I did that video for him, mainly for him. And then I had a drum camp where I did the drum styles of John Bonham and Neil Peart, whatever you want to call him. I like to call him Neil. Anyway, so I did this drum camp, this 6-week drum camp where we did a lot of Zeppelin and a lot of Rush and stuff. And then he wanted to do this rock and roll ending, and we didn't have time in the camp to spend just on that. So we had tons of stuff to do. But anyway, so I made the video for him with the rock and roll ending, and I guess people liked it, because my videos usually, they get maybe 100 watches, and this video just went over 25,000 views. So the John Bonham rock and roll ending. So I thought, in honor of the John Bonham rock and roll ending getting 25,000 views, for some people that's nothing. For me, kind of cool. So so I thought I'd do another Bonham thing. I thought I'd do this Bonham crossover, this Bonham Triplet crossover that I've seen him do many times. A lot of times in solos and stuff, when you see him, he kind of does this, and he does it repeatedly, and he's going crazy, and so it's kind of a cool thing. It's pretty easy, but it is kind of a signature Bonham crossover triplet thing. So pretty easy again. So I've seen, like I say, I've seen him do it online, watching video clips and stuff like that, and so it gives you the basic understanding anyway. Again, I think, as I talked about in the last video, the rock and roll ending video, he does a lot of left-hand lead stuff around the drums, which is cool, and it just so happens so do I. So it works out good for me. I totally understand. For instance, Joe, who wanted me to do the video originally, did everything right-hand lead, and it was a little more difficult to get the sounds because of that. But you just have to work on the left-hand lead part. So this one is super easy. I'm going to think of it in terms of 16th note triplets, but I think you can learn it easier just thinking 8th note triplets. And it's simply going to be one ta ta. I count triplets 1 ta ta. Okay, 8th note triplets. 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta. That's it. Now we've got to orchestrate it, right, and get the crossover. And then we can add some other things to it. Like I usually tell my students, once you learn a lick, you could kind of make it your own by doing some other things, right? So we'll talk about that a little at the end. But so that's the lick. All right, have a good day. No, that's not the end of the video. It could be, but it's not. Okay, because that is literally the lick. Okay, so then we've got to orchestrate, right? Okay, so 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, and there's the crossover. 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1, and then you repeat, right? 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1. Now, sometimes I find myself drifting over here and playing 2 notes on the snare. To my ear, I don't know, maybe I've heard him do that somewhere, or maybe I just like it. I don't know, but you get the same kind of cool feel. the idea. So there it is. So you think of it as 16th note triplets, and then obviously if you're playing just a groove and you play these as 16th note triplets, it's gonna be faster. If you're playing like I don't know, about 100 beats a minute or something like that, 120 beats, it's gonna really be flying by, right? So we'll talk about building them up and stuff, and obviously you have to build them up to speed to get them. Certainly, if you want them to sound like Bonham, at whatever speed he was playing them at, which was probably pretty high. So we'll do it again, and we'll speed it up a little, and you'll get the idea. I think I have a camera up above today. We'll see if it works. I've tried this before. I don't know. You know, this isn't Drumeo. Have I mentioned that before? You know. So no editing, as you always know, and we'll try. I'll try it a little faster. So we're going to do the crossover. We'll mess around with it maybe on the snare, and then I'll show you as I was messing with this a little. I kind of did my own little crossover here. As I said, mix it up. You do that, and then mix up some other things in it and kind of make it your own. So here we go. So here we go. That's the Bonham crossover. Sometimes I did those two notes. I don't know, I kind of like that. And then I'll add a little something extra. I do my own little 16th note crossover between these two drums. I used to like, and I should do a video on this, there was a Buddy Rich crossover that he used to do all the time. Something like that. Probably not exactly, but it was something like that. But it was more 16th note-y oriented. So maybe I'll do a video. Hey, here's a good idea. If you like that crossover, send me whatever you do, a comment saying, hey, let's talk about that Buddy Rich crossover, and then I'll do a video on that. But I kind of did this triplety one to go with the Bonham one. So again, the Bonham one, and then what I did was this. So, okay, I might have did it a little different the first time I played it, but that's basically it. Again, it's still leading with my left. You're counting 8th note triplets, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta. 16th note triplets, 1 ta ta, and ta ta, 2 ta ta, ta ta, 3 ta ta, and ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1. Okay? Again. Okay, so that's just something I came up with, messing around with the crossover, probably because of the Buddy Rich thing. But those are 16th notes, and we're sticking with the triplet feel. Then I thought, well, what about our hi-hat? Inevitably, I'm going to have a student say, because I love to add hi-hat things in. Well, what are you going to do with your hi-hat? So I thought, okay, I haven't messed around with this much. So again, no editing, but there's bound to be mistakes. But we're sharing information. That's what we want to do. We want to share. We want to share information to the drumming community without spending 2 months working on something and then doing a video. Okay, so I thought, well, let's put the hi-hat in. I've got 3 places, right? I could put the hi-hat on the snare hit, right? Something like that, right? That. I could put the snare hit on the bass drum part, the last part. And I could put the snare, the hi-hat in the middle one. And the middle one, just messing with this a little before I hit the record button, the middle one was definitely, for me anyway, was harder than the other ones, which is weird because it's going to be unison with my right hand, right? Idea. You could do it on the left hand snare hit. You could do it on the right hand floor tom hit, and then you could do it with the bass drum. So either way, it adds a little bit of color. I think a little spark of high end on top of that fill, and it definitely makes it a little more challenging. I found it more challenging playing that middle triplet with my unison with my right hand with the hi-hat. So add a little difficulty to it, have some fun with it. It's a great fill to play like with a rhythm. Let's see. The only thing is you got to do a hit with your left hand when you're finished with it. Gotta do the double. Okay, so there you go. Practice, practice, practice. You could do a kind of crossover. I don't know, you could do some kind of weird thing here too. The world's your oyster. I've heard of that before. I don't like oysters. Slimy, way too slimy. Okay, so Bonham crossover. I don't know if it'll get 25,000 views, but it's a pretty. Let me put it this way. You probably can use this fill much more than you can use the rock and roll ending, which is kind of a big ending. I don't know where you would use that unless you were just playing that song. But this you can use everywhere, right? It looks cool from the audience perception, right? You playing the crossover. I like what I did at the end with the crossover here, which I think is cool. So there's a lot of fun, and then you can kind of make up your own. But it's a great easy fill, and like I said, it's you can probably find Bonzo playing that in several live solo clips, but you could certainly use it in a fill. I mean, you see other people do it, obviously, also. But it's a little flashy because of the crossover. And so anyway, I'll have the stuff up on the screen, probably an eighth note, and then in a triplet format. And then I'll have my little crossover. And mine has a lot to do with dynamics because of the accents. You know, I put that accent on one. I think it's on the one and the and a two. Yeah, and ta ta ta. One and ta ta. Three ta and ta. So that's what's given it that feel. Okay, so of course put some accents in other places if you want. losing my sticks. Put some accents in other places. Have fun with it. Practice, practice. Nothing should be set in stone, right? Everything could be tweaked no matter what. I got some good ones coming up. I'm going to go through I had a student a little while back wanted to play the Tool song Eulogy. Of course, there's that cool part in there with the open hi-hat thing. Every 3 notes you open your hi-hat. That's kind of a cool thing. That's coming up next. And then I got there's always someone that wants to play in 1916. I don't know what it is. Demystifying the 1916 groove cannot be easier, right? Tempo's always a problem, but we're going to talk about playing in 1916 and 2116 because we're doing a little bit of a in honor of the Zappa song "Keep It Greasy," which, if you're not familiar with, check it out. I'm not saying you'll like it, but that was one of the first times I heard something in 1916. Vinny plays the song super fast, but we're going to talk about it more in the concept of just understanding it. But you certainly could listen to that song and get blown away by Vinny and Zappa and the band. It's a crazy, crazy song. But anyway, we'll talk about 1916, 2116. We'll talk about the groupings of 3 with a eulogy. Those 2 are coming up, and then I'm going to also do another odd time thing going from 5/4 to 5/8 back and forth, which is another Vinny Zappa thing that I heard him do on a song called 5/5/5. So anyway, got some cool things coming up. This one's actually for everybody because everybody can do this. The eulogy one, kind of tough. The 1916 is not that difficult. It's just how often do you play a song in 1916? Not very often, but just to understand the concept, I think is important. So practice, practice, practice. Work on these. Awfully cool. I only have 1 stick, so I can't do a flashy ending. So I'm just gonna have to say practice, 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 practice.